Hi YouTube, so I've been having issues with my twin tip bindings. The screws that hold in the bindings, so these screws that go in over there, they've kept coming undone. You know, after a session I'd have to tighten them each time, which is incredibly annoying, and I actually had one screw come out completely in my last session. So I'm just going to walk you through how I go about trying to stop that from happening, because it is exceptionally annoying. So my brother's quite involved in he likes his motorsport, he likes his cars and all of that. He suggested using thread locking glue. So basically what you do is you glue that screw in, but the glue's not strong enough, so that you can't get that screw out. And I think that's a really good idea. So I wanted to give that a shot. I've never used it before, but it didn't seem too difficult to use. And I'll just walk you through that process and then we'll see if it works. I'm obviously at my board now, and the first thing to note when using this thread locking glue is you want to have your screws, so the screw that will obviously go into the little socket and the socket itself as clean as possible, to ensure that that bond is as strong and as clean as possible. So what I have done already is washed this with fresh water in the shower, and obviously washed the screw as well, and then you can start gluing it. If you're wondering what brand of thread locking glue I'm using like a no-name brand, but the main one is Kite. I'm sure you might have heard of that before. That's like the thread locking glue, I guess. So this is the thread locking glue here. I borrowed some from my brother. He's obviously in the motorsports industry. So you could add a little bit into that socket itself, but mostly onto the actual thread of the screw. So if you can see there, just add that onto the thread of the screw, and then put your binding in place, and then put your screw in place, and then just ensure, before you screw that in, just ensure that the other side also is lined up with that socket, and then you can screw that side in. Okay, there we go. So I'm not quite sure how long it takes to dry, but I would say leave it overnight just to ensure that it's properly dry, and then you can go ahead and use that. So I just thought I'd explain that whole process again, obviously on the other side of the binding. So here's my glue, and obviously just to give you a better close-up of how much glue I apply onto the screw. So you don't want to apply too much, you don't want that glue to ooze out anywhere, but you want to just fill that thread. And ideally you want to just put the glue on the part of the thread that'll actually be going into that socket. So as you can see here, that's what that screw looks like. Then pop that screw into the socket itself and screw that in tightly. And again, I would recommend giving that overnight to dry, and then you can use it the next day. Hey guys, so I went and had a session yesterday using that thread locking glue on the binding screws on my twin tip. We had a 5-hour session yesterday, and those screws didn't budge one bit. We were super overpowered as well, so I think if there was a day that they were going to unscrew, it was going to be yesterday, but they didn't. So obviously time will tell, but I definitely think if you have the same problem, it's definitely worth a shot. But yeah, hope that helps.